You are listening to KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank, your partner in possible.
What's going on, Chiefs Kingdom? I'm BJ Kissel. Welcome to this episode of the KCSN Draft Show. We're hanging out with ESPN's Matt Miller on this Monday. I think the episode's going to come out on Tuesday, Matt, but we've done a few of these where we've thrown to interviews that we did out at the East-West Shrine Bowl at the end of January. Got a chance to sit down and talk with these players. I think anybody listening to this remembers we had a chance to sit down and talk to Isaiah Pacheco last year, which ended up being a great thing considering the Chiefs drafted him and went on to have, you know what, Matt, I'm starting over. That's not very good. All right, okay. 3, 2. I don't want to go there right away. All right, 3, 2, 1. What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome to the KCSN Draft Show. I'm BJ Kissel, hanging out with ESPN's Matt Miller today. This show and all of our draft content is sponsored and presented by our friends at Miller Lite. Matt, how was before we get into the football stuff and we throw to these interviews that we did out at the Shrine Bowl again, how was the weekend? How are things going? Is you're just, 10 days away from your Christmas, professionally at least?
Yeah, it's hectic, BJ. You and Tucker have already heard how weird my brain is operating this morning, so I apologize to everyone in advance. This podcast goes off the rails, but it's good, man. It's this is the time of year I think the anxiety sets in because you don't know what you don't know, right? But you try to collect all the information that you can, and you try to memorize so much information, and then the draft starts, and it's just such a the activity happens so fast that it's probably on a much less athletic level. It's like preparing for a game, and you just hope that by Friday. What do coaches always say? The game's won by Friday. You either have it done or not. So that's where we're at right now. Just trying to memorize 60 seconds of details by about 550 players. So it's good, man.
We were talking before we recorded. Anybody who follows me on social media saw the picture I put out of my ankle and just a completely embarrassing situation. But I'm going to have a chance over the next several days to watch a lot of the players and get caught up on the draft, at least for myself personally, since I can't move around too well. Because I put out the public disclaimer for any dads out there that rock any Hey Dudes. Not exactly the greatest, phenomenal shoes to wear around. Not great shoes to, I say, play basketball in, but quick. I wasn't playing basketball. I was rebounding from my son who was shooting on the new goal that we got. And I grabbed the ball and took one shot, Matt. I took one shot. There's nobody playing defense. And I just happened to clip the edge of the driveway, roll the ankle about an hour and a half before we were all going to the black tie event at the Kids Night Out for the boys at raising money and benefiting the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Kansas City. So about an hour and a half before that event, rolled the ankle pretty good. Was hobbling around all night with all the guys, and ended up being a great event. It was fun. But the next day, or when I got home, took it off. Got a baseball on the side of my foot. So quick disclaimer to any of the dads out there, not necessarily a great idea to shoot baskets or try to do anything athletic in Hey Dudes, although I would still advocate for those shoes just in the right context.
Right. Good, walking the kids to the car shoes, or to take the trash out in the morning shoes, or even gonna have some Miller Lights in the backyard shoes. Not rebounding shoes.
Yeah, no, going to the grocery store, that's mainly where I started wearing them, but very comfortable. But yeah, pretty rough couple of days coming up, but excited about this show. I enjoy these because we get a chance to meet some of these players and talk with some of these players, especially as we get close to the draft. I know a lot of people, a few weeks ago, it was a lot of the top 50 guys you're getting really familiar with. We have a chance to sit down with a lot of guys who could get drafted on Friday or Saturday and have these sit-down interviews. And I'm excited to get your thoughts on the 3 players that we're going to throw to these interviews with in Travius Hodges-Tomlinson, the cornerback out of TCU that a lot of Big 12 fans are probably familiar with. Plays with a lot of energy, stood out as number 1 for TCU. I had a chance as a K-State fan to watch him a couple of different times. Excited to get your thoughts on him. And then also Keytrail Clark, another cornerback out of Louisville. And then the tight end out of Michigan, Luke Schoonmaker, are the 3 interviews that we're going to throw to. And Matt, let's start with Travius Hodges-Tomlinson. As a player, there's going to be a comparison to a former Chiefs player that's just very lazy and easy to make. I won't go there quite yet with you, but what stands out to you about Travius Hodges-Tomlinson, the TCU corner?
Yeah, well, he comes from TCU, and that last name Tomlinson carries some weight in that area. So obviously he's the nephew of the great LaDainian Tomlinson. So there's a nice connection there. But I think what does stand out, BJ, is somebody who plays much bigger than his size. He's 5'8", 178 pounds. Do you guys remember L'Jarius Sneed's teammate at La Tech? It was Amik Robertson. He was kind of the sawed-off corner, but he played like Mighty Mouse. He just played pissed off. And that's kind of what Tre'Vius is. He's very, very athletic. He ran a 4.41. He's got a damn near 40-inch vert, and he plays big. I mean, he's constantly in your face. He's just nagging wide receivers. He's good in man coverage. He's got short area quickness. He's got good burst. So size is the limitation, but the play is fantastic. I mean, he absolutely erased Big 12 receivers, and very, very rarely did anyone have a great game on him. And he was thrown out a lot because he's a small guy. And so it was like offensive coordinator said, we're going to pick on him. They should not have done that. Now, the downside is you can't overcome your size sometimes. And he is handsy, dude. He was flagged a ton last year. So he's got some stuff he's got to clean up. I would put boxing gloves on him, in rookie camp and tell him we're gonna learn to cover like this without being able to grab people. But he is just a fun player to watch. I think if you made a list of here are my 11 guys on defense who are fun to watch, he would absolutely make that team.
He's listed at 5'8", 178. You look at some of the numbers. I mean, he, according to Pro Football Focus, allowed just 34.6% completion rate when targeted, had 41 passes defense in his 4 years at TCU, including 18 passes defense last season. And the player that I think a lot of Chiefs fans would remember when you talk about a short nickel, short corner, Mark McMillan. So the Mighty Mouse is what he was called, a player that stands out when you talk about a smaller player. But I love the Amik Robertson comparison. He's definitely one of those players that you can just tell his teammates and the energy that he brings. And I said we had a chance to talk with him at the East-West Shrine Bowl. And so let's go to that interview right now. This was from a few weeks ago, but here's us sitting down with TCU cornerback Travius Hodges-Tomlinson.
So Trey, thanks for spending some time with us. We appreciate it. I want to start. How'd you get into football, and what does football mean to you?
I feel like I was born to play this sport. Whenever I was very young, it's a game I fell in love with at a very young age. Started playing at 5 years old. And, it wasn't a Bantam scene, so I was playing with the junior squad like 10 and under very early. So just growing up around the game, and finding out that it was something that I really wanted to be great at. And then, from then on, I've always wanted to be one of the greatest. So I took it on as that and, path to it.
Is there somebody, that you use or that influenced you to the sport of football and kind of helped guide you that way?
Yeah, for sure. As you know, my uncle, Hodges-Tomlinson, he's a Hall of Famer, great. As I got older, he became someone that put a lot of resources in my life, started to train me and, put things in front of me to help me become the player I am today. And also, mentoring and making sure that I'm, becoming a professional athlete and then also a man at the end of the day.
Would you say that he's the biggest influence on your career? Do you have a coach or somebody like that, or a trainer that took your career up another level even?
Yeah, most definitely. He was the biggest influencer. He's a family member. Yeah. And it's always through love, so. And yeah, of course he did put trainers in front of me. Like I said, he brought in the resources, so that I could prevail in the sporting position that I'm playing at.
Have you always played defensive back, or did you start, playing offense, defense? How'd you get to cornerback going through your career?
I grew up playing running back, and then also a little bit on the other side, because, my favorite, player growing up was Deion Sanders. So I did want to play some defense, and as I got older, my uncle kind of filled me out. He's seeing, what I was very good at, my strengths and all that type of stuff. And we both came to agreement that cornerback would be a primary position that I should look forward to, knowing that cornerback is, one of the most important, positions in the NFL in today's game. So, man, I wanted to be, playing a position what is the most important on the team, So, man, when it came about, it was all about becoming a great cornerback.
Is there any players, whether in college, teammates, or in NFL, that you kind of model some of your game after, anything like that?
Most definitely. I wouldn't say model, but I picked them, find out, what makes them great in ways and, how can I add it on into my game, to help me become just as great as a player as them. But man, I like to watch Tyrann Mathieu a lot. Tyrann Mathieu, I love the way he plays the game. You know how he has always played the game in college and in the NFL, man. He's going to be a great, he's done a lot of things, in his past and as well as, in today's. But man, yeah, man, Tyrann Mathieu, man, he's a dog. His mentality, and his ball skills and everything else that makes him great. How he gets after it as a whole.
So let's talk about your game prep. Starting, beginning of the week, you got an opposing team coming up. What are you studying? What are you trying to look at on film to try and pick up what different receivers and different looks and stuff like that, what they're doing? How do you go through that process during the week?
Man, first off, I'm looking at the team as a whole, finding out what they're doing out of this formation. Every formation, what route combinations are coming out of them, what path the slot is taking, knowing, that it's going to help me once I get my eye on the one receiver to figure out what his route is going to be outside of that. So just seeing what the team is doing, what they like to do, breaking down, what they're doing on first, second, and third downs, what they're doing on certain things to, get a conversion whenever needed, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 15. That's where it starts out with, starting off with all that. And then, probably midweek or like right before midweek, probably like on a Tuesday, because we play on Saturdays. Mm-hmm. But Sunday and Monday is all about breaking down the team as a whole first. And then I go into, studying the receiver, what is he doing to get into this type of route? What release is he taking, that's going to give me an idea of what route he's going to run, so just being able to do that. And then also putting myself into off-man coverage, and seeing what type of drops the quarterback is making, whether it's a hop, if he's, looking to the side right away, is he trying to look off and come back? Yeah, man, just seeing the drops so that I can get a great read, on, how deep this route is about to be.
Yeah. So let's talk about what's going through your mind. You see the offense break the huddle, you're out wide, you see a receiver coming your way. Walk me through, let's say your favorite coverage, what you're executing, what's going through your mind, what you're reading about the receiver, what you're reading about his release. Walk me through that a little bit, just kind of the whole process from them breaking the huddle to you, executing the snap.
First off, it all depends on what the call is. Mm-hmm. Getting the line, because, if it's a defense where I am, where I will have to show up in the run, be the run support on the edges or whatever it is, then I have to make an adjustment so that I can get down and get in that position. If it is man, depending on where the slot is or how tight they are, or whatever, but it all starts with the formation, man. So just seeing that first and then knowing if I should press it or if I should play off, and then knowing the down and distance, because that also gives me a good feel on, what I've seen on film and what they're about to try to attack me with. Mm-hmm. So sometimes I go up and press depending on the down and distance. Sometimes I'll play off. It all depends.
Is there a specific game just from your career, what this past year or whenever, that you felt really dialed in and you knew everything that was going to happen? You just were able to showcase, your best self on the field?
Man, honestly, it's just getting the feel of the game, because to be real, you never know how a team is going to attack you, especially when you've had success in the league. They're going to try to find, ways to, change stuff up so that it doesn't make it too easy. But some teams do stick with their game plan, and it makes it much more easier. But, man, honestly, I can't just say which game it was, but it was a lot of games where I did get very, I knew what was going on. It's pretty much just, the knowledge that I gained from the staff before, my position coach, Jeremy Marcus, man, he taught me how to, be able to tell what route is coming off of the slots release, whenever I'm looking, I'm reading ball 2-1, stuff like that. So just seeing the path of the slot, and then sometimes it's one receiver seeing the drop of the quarterback, man. So it'll give me a great feeling depending on where the running back is. It allows me to get a great feel on what routes I'm about to get.
Is there a specific play in your career that you can just remember every detail of, whether it was a play where you felt like you executed the best you could, or maybe you left a little something on the field that you just remember every little detail about?
I could say a couple of plays, but one of the main plays would be the interception I caught against Texas. The receiver, I knew that he was a speed guy, and I knew that at some point in the game they were going to try to attack me deep, so knowing that I didn't have any help over the top in that similar play. You know, I seen his speed, the speed he was coming at, how he was, attacking me. You know, he was running very fast, so I got my read step, seen the drop of the quarterback. I began to open up a little bit and made sure that I kept my leverage, and it made it harder for him. It made him commit early because, I was already in a running form, because I knew that he had speed. So once he, began to come, I opened up and started running. He was running too. And, I was able to locate the ball faster than he was because I was already at a great point in position, on that man. So found the ball, picked it.
So you're playing a game against your biggest rival, game-winning interception. You make it. Would you rather be at home in front of that TCU crowd and everyone's going crazy, or on the road, the opposing teams, that rival fan base has to be completely silent because you just won the game for the team that they hate the most?
Man, I wanna, shut the other crowd up, because my crowd is gonna be happy no matter what. But yeah, man, I'm always for leaving the team, hurt, so because just like any other player on the other team, they want to leave me hurt, so I'm going to leave them hurt. Yeah, man. So anytime it's beating somebody at their own house, I'm always for it, man, and being able to shut up a crowd that, does a lot of talking.
So you come off the field, you make a game play like that, you have a really good game. Doesn't really matter, the scenario here, but what do you want to hear the opposing coach say about you? What do you hear them say at the podium that makes you know that you had a really good game against them?
That was the best defensive back I ever played against, ever seen in the history of my coaching years.
Yeah, nice. All right. Draft process here. Draft night, you're going. Basically, this is the night that you're getting drafted. You see the phone light up. What are the emotions going through your head? What are you thinking of? Who's there with you? Who are you going to hug? How is that going to be for you?
Man, my mom, man, she's been there. She basically, showed me how to get to where I want to be, man. Just seeing how she worked, having been a single parent of 3. And, she didn't take any days off. She was always in go mode, work mode, grind mode, trying to provide for her kids, man. And just seeing that. So, man, just being able to hug my mama and be very grateful for it. But the moment will be, man, now I can start my road to becoming a Hall of Famer. Never satisfied with, just being drafted, because that's not what it's about. And, man, someday going down as a great, it puts me in position to get in that position. So, man, I'm just really excited for the opportunity, and, I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Trey, thank you so much for spending some time with us. Good luck the rest of this week.
Whether you're a Chiefs, Royals, Sporting KC, KC Current, K-State, KU, or Mizzou fan, we've got you covered. Thanks for watching this production of KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank.
Kansas City, the NFL draft is almost here. It's a fantastic time for our city. Make sure you're staying locked into us here at KC Sports Network because we've got the draft covered. Chiefs have 10 picks. We'll see how many they actually use, but there's one selection that every football fan can share, and that's an ice-cold Miller Lite. The players change, the coaches change, the rules change, but Miller Lite is still the perfect beer for draft time, game time, and everything in between. Personally, when I want a beer with some flavor, but it's also light and won't make me feel bad, Miller Lite has been a go-to. It's light on calories, not taste. What's the point of drinking beer if you can't taste it? Till kickoff comes around again, enjoy the beer that tastes like the season. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/KCSN. Or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
Entertain, educate, inform. KC Sports Network.
All right, welcome back to the KCSN Draft Show. BJ Kissel hanging out with ESPN's Matt Miller. Just saw the interview with Travius Hodges-Tomlinson. Always enjoy going out there and getting a chance to sit down. We get, Matt, 20, 30 minutes one-on-one with these guys out there. So the access for us is just different than anything else that we could do for a chance to sit down, get these interviews. Hopefully we get lucky again like we did last year with Isaiah Pacheco. Had a chance to sit down and talk with him. The Chiefs draft one of these guys. I know the Chiefs pretty loaded at corner, especially with young corners. But
Right.
we'll see what happens.
Right.
I love the fact you keep doubling up on corners and edge rushers, all those premium value positions. But let's move on to another corner. Matt, kid out of Louisville, Keytrail Clark, is listed at 5'10", 181. What do you like about Keytrail Clark and his game?
Small, like you said, but fast. I mean, he is just twitchy, and it shows up when he's asked to click and close, when he has to attack the ball. It shows up, and I think just the overall athletic ability, and something I wrote a ton of my notes when I was finalizing them on him. It's just, it shows up at everything. Again, close speed, the aggressiveness, playing the ball. So I think he shows that ability to come up. So if you're playing zone coverage, he's really comfortable in that. I thought his 2022 tape wasn't his best tape. I thought he was a little bit bigger in 21, but lack of length shows up at times, BJ. But I think the competitiveness is really what you want. So competitive speed. He's short armed, he's sub 30-inch arms, but I love the kind of that aggressive style of play. You got these two corners tagged here together in this video who are both small dudes, but like they're gonna knock your head off if you come on their side of the field. So I think you're getting that similar, almost like Mike Hilton is like the dream, like who they could become. Mike Hilton, the slot for the Bengals. I think with Kei'Trel, he struggled a little bit in the slot this past year. He's more comfortable on the outside, but he had a lot of success on the outside, not being a huge guy. So I think you're comfortable with that. And we didn't throw out a draft range on Hodges-Tomlinson. It's probably the 4th round. I think Keytrail Clark is probably the similar range, 4th, maybe 5th round, but by dudes who can be a number 3 corner in the NFL.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to ask you about where you expected these guys to go. But yeah, you look at Keytrail Clark's numbers, 51 tackles, 4 of which were for loss last season, 1 interception, is returned 46 yards for a score, had 9 pass breakups. So again, looking at an early day 3 on Saturday pick. And if you were Brett Veach, and you and I have talked about this before, if the Chiefs can somehow put together another draft like they had last year as far as production value players. Now that doesn't happen very often, but you start throwing a word around like dynasty, that happens because of the Chiefs are going to do over the next 2 weeks. If the Chiefs are really going to solidify that dynasty word, it's because they have another good draft. Not that they have to hit like they did last year, but bring in another solid group of guys who can play right away in some specific role, even if it's as a backup, a 4th corner, 5th corner, 5th DB, special teams player, whatever it is. They can solidify the roster and get some contributors in here on Saturday, because that's where you can really separate yourself from other organizations. You start hitting on those day 3 picks, you're going to be at a good spot. But let's go to that interview that we had a chance to sit down with Kei'Trel Clark out at the East-West Shrine Bowl back in January. Here's that interview.
Kei'Trel, thanks for joining us. We appreciate your time while you're out here. What started you on this path to be at this point in your career?
Man, that's a good question. It all started when I was a little kid. I've been playing football since I was like 6 years old, man. So started playing flag football, doing rec league, getting the ball at running back and running in the opposite direction. Yeah, man. So it started all there, man. And I just fell in love with the game. Every year since I was 6 years old, I've been playing football. There's no year that I've took off, and I'm still in love with the game. It's a beauty because I know a lot of my friends, that have played since they were little, and they kind of fall out of love with the game a little bit. But man, I'm still here. I'm enjoying it and I'm loving it.
What is it about football that you just love so much that you just can't imagine not being there?
Yeah, man, it's the ultimate team sport, bro. Like, it's just fun, man, just to go out there and compete with your teammates. All the work that you put in behind the scenes, comes to fruition when you get on the field, and you just manifest greatness and it comes to life. So it's just a beauty. I love it.
So do you have an individual in your life that helped get you into football, that gave you the passion for the sport that you have?
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure if y'all heard of the term, it takes a village. It was a village surrounded behind me, my mom, my dad, my stepfather. I met people, coaches along the way that just, kept me loving this game. And, just letting me know, you have a unique talent. And they always seen it in me. And, when I seen it within myself, that's when, I really started to flourish.
So do you have an individual that may be a coach or somebody like that professionally took your game up another level, somebody that really helped you be the person that you are on the field today?
So in high school, my sophomore year, I played safety. Never played corner at all. So I told my coach, like, coach, I'm playing safety. This is what I'm going to do. And when I started working out with him for the first time, he was like, dude, you're a corner. Like, you're going to play corner when you go to college. I'm going to teach you how to play corner. His name is Coach Eddie. I still talk to him to this day. We go over drill work. We go over film work. My whole time I've been training at Exos, we still been, going over the X and the O's of the game. He's been a person that I've been able to lean on and just understand this game a little bit more, just from my position to the whole defense, So he's a person, and I have a person in my life I call my OG. And me and him, we just keep talking about ball and life, man. So yeah.
So on the field, you're coming up, you're finishing up one game, your next opponent's coming up. You guys have your scheduled practices and all that, but what's your process to get ready for that next game? What are you going through that week?
Okay. My process is basically, analyzing the game, viewing my mistakes, and the mistakes of the defense or anything I've seen, help correct myself or my teammates. Just viewing that film, and then what we call is we just zip it up, put it in the bag, and just throw it. You know what I'm saying? Because we got to prepare for the next week now. So that Sunday after the game, we went through the practice. We did that. So now we're diving into the next week of the scouting report. So now we're looking at the wide receivers that we have, the quarterbacks, what type of scheme they run. And, we just start to gradually just build up until the week, until the actual day before the game. And, it's time to go. So for me, man, it's just most definitely just making sure I'm erasing whatever happened in that game that was negative, but also remembering it, so I don't make those same mistakes and just continue to just prepare.
So when you're watching film, what are you specifically looking for as you're kind of leading up to that game? What's your thought process as you're going through the film?
As I'm going through the film, just seeing what the offense likes to do. Seeing if they're a run heavy team or a pass heavy team, because this year, I played a lot of nickel. So I had to make sure that, based on the game plan, sometimes my coach, he would be like, okay, they're a lot of 11 personnel team. So we're going to put you in a nickel this game because they like to, kind of air it out. And sometimes they may mix some runs in or they may have a gadget guy and I want you to follow them. So, that'll be my process when it comes to that. And then, just looking at the top wide receivers that game, making sure that I'm studying any little keys that they may give me for that game. And, just looking at the quarterback, the O-line, and, just the whole nine.
So what's your favorite coverage to run? Either nickel or boundary. What's your favorite coverage to run?
Hey, put me in man, bro. It's just, what I'm saying? Put me in man. Cover one is cool with me.
Yeah.
Like I just want to be able to cover. Sometimes being in zone, I gotta drop to a landmark and then guys find little holes in the defense and I hate it. So throw me a man.
Okay. So you're in man coverage. You see a receiver break the huddle. You know who you've got in man coverage. Walk me through what you're thinking. Walk me through what you're reading at the line of scrimmage for him. Walk me through what you have to do from the huddle breaking to all the way through the execution of the snap.
Okay. From the huddle breaking, we looking at down and distance. We got to see what down it is. And based on the game plan of studying the film, we'll know, okay, is it third down? Is it second down? Because the whole play calling may change based on what they've used to run. So, if it's third down, we breaking the huddle. I'm looking at the wide receiver and say I'm in some type of man coverage or I'm in the nickel or the slot. I look how that wide receiver, comes to the line. Is he coming out? Is he coming up to the line? Antsy, touching his gloves up a little bit. Okay, the ball might be coming to him. He might be a little bit more, tensed up than he usually is before he gets in. Rather than if he's not getting the ball. I watch the splits of the wide receivers. Okay, and that's based on game plan. Is it a tight split? Is it a wide split? Is he midpointing? Like just what it is, and that's kind of what I go through in my head.
Would you rather make a pass breakup or a tackle for a loss and say a wide receiver screen or fit in the run or something like that?
I love tackle for losses. I don't know if y'all watch my game. Yeah, man. I love making the big play. Of course the PBU is fine, but I would love to put a defense behind the sticks, because if it's second down and 7 and I get a PBU, it's gonna be 37. But if I make a big play and I break a screen up, it can go from 3rd and 7 to 3rd and 11, 12, so, and the crowd go crazy, So I just love making those tackle for
So
losses.
after that tackle, are you talking a little bit of smack as you getting up off the field?
Of course.
Are we talking to the guy that couldn't block you or the guy you tackled?
Everybody. Nah, everybody, bro. I'm just getting up and I'm just enjoying the moment, bro.
Do you start the trash talk or do you respond to other people?
I don't initiate it. We come out and we play our game. And if you want to get a little dirty or you want to start talking, then that's when I'll start talking back, and you're not gonna like it when I start talking because I'm not gonna stop.
So you make a game-winning play. We'll say interception, game-winning interception. Game was on the line. You're playing your biggest rival. Would you rather be at home crowds going crazy and celebrating, going wild, on the road, rival fan bases has to go completely silent because you just won the game for the opponent?
Okay, so earlier I was asked this same question, but I was able to take some thought into it. I would rather be away in a rival stadium just to see the look on their faces. Yeah, so 2021, we were playing Florida State. And they got me on the drive, with a couple PIs. And then, they tried me like 3 times on that drive. So the third time they tried me, it was towards the end of the game. If they would have scored, they would have been back in the game, and I caught the interception, and the whole crowd, I go back and look at the video. You see everybody would just look so disappointed, man. And I was like, it was a good feeling.
What's going through your mind when that happens?
Man, it was just like, okay, y'all thought I was one of them. I'm not one of them. Okay, so stop trying me. So that's how I felt.
What do you want to hear an opposing coach say about you? They come to their post-game press conference, they're standing on the podium, they get asked about you. What do you want to hear from them that knows you had a good game?
I want them to know that I'm just like a jackrabbit, just everywhere, just flying around the field, chasing the ball, and just being relentless. A lot of guys, that say I'm undersized, but I'm aggressive and I play fast. And I just want them to understand that, look, I'm gonna play fast. I don't care if I'm going against somebody that's 6'7" or 5'8".
Yeah.
So let's look forward a little bit. We get to the end of this long draft process and you get that phone call and your name's selected by X team. What are the emotions that are going to be going through you when you finally get to that point?
Man, I tell myself I'm not gonna cry, but then I cry thinking about it. So man, I feel like it's gonna be an emotional moment. Because this next few months of my life I have a lot, that's going on. Man, I still haven't graduated college yet, so I graduate, right after the draft. So that's a monument moment in my life too. I have a child on the way, you know what I'm saying? And that's going to happen right after the draft, another monument moment. So it's just like everything is just stacking up. And it's just, it's just beautiful. So I'll probably cry, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Congrats on all that. Who's going to be there with you? When that's happening at your draft party or whatever it is, who's going to be there with you, and who are you hugging first?
So I'm gonna be in Richmond, Virginia. And man, I'm gonna bring out all the people that supported me. Bring my family, bring my friends. First person I'm hugging is my mother. Got to, because she sacrificed a lot for me to even be right here in this position. So I got to give glory and thanks to her.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it, and good luck the rest of this week.
Yes, sir.
Whether you're a Chiefs, Royals, Sporting KC, KC Current, K-State, KU, or Mizzou fan, we've got you covered. Thanks for watching this production of KC Sports Network. Proudly presented by Emprise Bank.
What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? This is BJ Kissel, founder and CEO of KC Sports Network. With Kansas City on full display for the NFL Draft, what better way to celebrate our hometown than by supporting a charity that helps kids with special needs in our own backyard? Children's Center for the Visually Impaired will host the CCVI Trolley Run Sunday, April 30th to change the lives of students who are blind or have low vision. Now in its 35th year, the CCVI Trolley Run is a 4-mile race that finishes on the Country Club Plaza the Sunday after the NFL Draft. This fundraiser is open to everyone and no athletic ability is required. Enjoy free beer after the race and snacks from local restaurants. We promise the KC community will be on full display. Visit trolleyrun.org and use code KCSN to get a few extra bucks off your registration. That's trolleyrun.org. All right, welcome back to the KCSN Draft Show presented by our friends at Miller Lite. Hanging out with ESPN's Matt Miller, getting his thoughts on a few of the players we had a chance to sit down and talk with out at the East-West Shrine Bowl. We've gone through Travius Hodges-Tomlinson. We talked about Keytrail Clark, both feisty, physical, smaller-sized cornerbacks.
Yeah.
A position that the Chiefs, cornerback, just one of those positions you're going to draft somebody every year, just by the nature of the position, how many guys.
As you should, yeah.
The next position is one that definitely has been at the forefront of Chiefs fans' minds, I believe, this offseason, and that is tight end. Obviously, Chiefs have the greatest tight end to ever play right now in Travis Kelce. We have said on KC Sports Network, I'm pretty sure on all the shows, the value that it brings, not just to bring in the next guy and get him ready for whenever Travis Kelce does decide to walk away and go and have a bigger career and a bigger brand that he's created for himself, whether it's acting or whatever he wants to do with his podcast, like he's going to be good at whatever. Hopefully he still plays for a long time. But having a young player come in and have a chance to spend even a couple of years around Travis Kelce and how he goes about his business is going to be a huge thing for the future of Patrick Mahomes' tight end weapon in 6 years from right now. So Luke Schoonmaker, the tight end out of Michigan, Matt, for all the tight ends that we've been talking about, and a lot of them have been guys at the top, Michael Mayer, Dalton Kincaid, a lot of players like that. Where does Luke Schoonmaker kind of fit into this entire tight end class, which I think even you yourself have said is a pretty deep one this year?
Yeah, it is the best tight end class I've evaluated. I've been doing this since 2012. God, that's a long time. Since 2012 or 11. God, 2011. Anyway,
you're old, man.
A long time. So I am. You're gonna love this. He's actually my number 69 overall player on my board. I gave him a late second, early third round grade. I think a versatile, like combo style tight end. He can do everything really well. You know, he's a very good receiver, very good blocker, both inline and on the move. He can play, all over. He can be next to the right tackle. He can be, in a slot position. He can be in an H-back spot. He does all the little things right. And I'm surprised that he's not getting a little more love, because you're right. It's Michael Mayer, Dalton Kincaid, Darnell Washington, Sam Laporta. They're getting a lot of the talk. But Schoonmaker could be a starter in the NFL. And I think the beautiful thing for the Chiefs is there are some things he needs to work on. So coming in and immediately being a tight end 2 really suits him very well. And I think that's what adds to the value of this pick. And the crazy thing could be, this is, as we were just talking about, the deepest tight end class in a really long time. Because of that, teams might wait on tight end. So the possibility of getting a Luke Schoonmaker at the bottom of the third round, I would say is pretty realistic, just because teams might wait. You might look at the tight end class and say, gosh, there's like 8 or 9 with potential starter grades. We're going to wait a little bit. And I think that really benefits Kansas City. So again, he's got all the traits. Got to get a little bit stronger. And it's almost the opposite of the 2 corners we talked about. I'd like to see him be a little more aggressive, like playing the ball. But this was a big get for the Shrine Game, because Schoonmaker will start in the NFL. I mean, he's a stud who is like a, Dawson Knox type tight end, who's just could be such a really good impact. Not, he's not going to be Travis Kelce, he's not going to be George Kittle, but he can be a really good starting tight end.
Yeah, you talk about the different tight ends, and I was looking at the Chiefs roster. Obviously, Travis Kelce, they've got Noah Gray coming back. Blake Bell was re-signed, and Jody Fortson is also going to be back. So we talk about it every year. I love how the roster is set up, and that you have those guys that have been on the roster for the last couple of years. I've been saying or expected the Chiefs to draft the tight end every year, it seems like, for the last 3 or 4 years. And I know they brought in Noah Gray. But with those guys that you have in that room, it's not going to stop them necessarily from getting a player that they really like. But if they wanted to, they could not take a tight end in this draft and still be okay with the guys they have on the roster. Now you talk about value and pockets and where you take a guy. Having a 5th tight end come in and compete for the 2 or 3 spots that you have is an extremely valuable thing. But you don't want to pigeonhole yourself going into the draft where you have to take a guy to fill out a roster spot. The Chiefs are in a very good spot when it comes to tight end with those dudes that I just mentioned. Obviously learning from Travis Kelce, who just continues to play at levels that aren't normal, obviously, for tight ends. 7 straight 1,000-yard seasons, and nobody had ever done it 3 straight years. I remember covering that back when it happened, and I asked Travis about it, and I think he'd be like, "Oh, that's cool," and he was just like, "Whatever." Like, it's just, I don't care. Not what he was.
I would say, BJ, before we throw to Luke, I will say, I'm sure this has happened, and I hope it has happened. At almost 34 years old, I think it's really important that Travis communicate with the Chiefs how much longer he wants to play. And obviously things change. But I think it would be good for him to say, like, hey, I got 3 more years in me, or I've got 2, or I want to play till I'm 35, whatever that is. And I think there could be a tell in this draft. How early do they go tight end? Is it pick 31? Is it round 2? Is it 10 picks? You could wait a while. So that's something that, the kind of subplots to the draft that I'll be watching to see, okay, how early do they feel this is a need? Because as G laid out perfectly, it is something that you should be thinking about to get the next guy in there so that it's not where you're backed into a corner, because we've seen the importance of having that middle of the field target.
I saw this put out on Twitter, and I apologize, I can't cite where I saw it. So shout out to whoever put this out there. But the idea that Jason Kelce came back for, it seems like 1 more year, signed a 1-year deal with a huge, there's a lot of money, but signed that 1-year deal of, do he and his brother want to retire after the same season? And if Jason just signed a 1-year deal, would they maybe want to go into the Hall of Fame together if Jason can earn? I mean, no, Travis is going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It's not a discussion necessarily right now if Jason will make it, but the thought that they retire the same year. Obviously, their podcast, one of the best podcasts out there. It and Pardon My Take are like the 2 top podcasts in the world. The second that it launched, which is pretty impressive. Not surprising with those 2 personalities how well it's doing. But anyway, let's get to that interview with Michigan tight end Luke Schoonmaker from out the East-West Shrine Bowl from just a few weeks ago. Check it out.
Luke, thank you for joining us. Thank you for giving us some time while you're out here. So I just kind of want to start with what does football mean to you? What has football meant to you throughout your life and as you're kind of growing older and going through all this process?
Yeah, always grew up loving the sport, and I love competition. I've been playing sports my whole life, so been around it, and I think just what led to me playing it is just the aspect of team and just a bunch of selfless guys coming together and playing together. And I give credit to my brother, too, who is a Marine, so I've kind of fascinated myself with the military aspect and just the selflessness that those guys bring, too. So I'm all about it and just doing everything I can to help a team to win at the end of the day.
You said you grew up playing sports. Were you almost always football? Or did you have a first sport before that? Like, how did that go for you?
Yeah, so my dad played basketball a little bit professionally in Brazil. So I thought basketball was going to be it at first. And then I was playing baseball for a little bit too. So I was thinking, one of those were going to be it. And then football ended up being the one. So I enjoyed all 3 of them, but that's how it played out.
So obviously you got a passion for the game and all of that. You're very close with your family. Would you say that they've instilled, your passion for sports, competitive nature, and, trying to be your best?
Yeah, I think my parents, both were sports players and just really instilled that in all of us since from the get-go. So just being around it and, challenging each and every one of us to go out there and give it our best no matter what, and compete and work for everything has been stuff I've learned my whole life and continue to do.
So when you're stepping on the football field, like what's your goal? What do you want to accomplish every time you go out there on the football field and the game gets ready to start?
Yeah, I think like being consistent, having as many little errors as I can, and then being productive too, being reliable, picking up my teammates when adversity hits, stuff like that keeps the team going in hard times and winning at the end of the game, obviously, right?
So you come off the field, maybe the opposition coach, is in a presser or something like that. He's asked about you. What sorts of things do you want to hear about yourself from an opposition?
I think just, a really gritty style of play, hard worker, and someone that teams have to, really prepare for and think about. Just someone that is really going to play to the whistle every play and bring it every game.
Is there a game that you can think of that if you were to tell somebody to go watch this one specific game that showcases you in your best, like you at your best, which game would that be?
Yeah, I think about maybe Maryland this game or this season. Just I think I had my career day that game, so was happy with that one. And then just a few others. I think there was a cluster of them that I just was really playing pretty well and playing at a good level, and just trusting in my teammates and making a play with the ball when it's thrown to me. So,
what do you want to show NFL teams that maybe people don't know about your game, that you want to prove to them, hey, this is what I'm good at, maybe, throughout the draft process or in meetings, whatever it may be?
Yeah. I think just being a dynamic playmaker when I have the ball in my hands and extending plays, being able to break tackles, is something that I'm going to continue to work on, and just make it really fun and exciting and reliable, like I said, and blue collar, just doing whatever I need to do.
Is there a specific play throughout your career that you just remember, it's ingrained in your memory, good or bad, that maybe didn't go the way you want it to, that you just will always remember?
I think plays that had me running some sort of a across the field route that I was just able to use my speed and get open with and run real fast. I always love having those plays called. So, and then run game, I always love the pin and pull, being able to pin a D end in or hold my ground or something like that, or even the inserts too, which is a tough job for anybody to do, is to run downhill at a linebacker coming full steam at you. Is asking for a lot, but it's something I've enjoyed doing and look to continue doing it.
You've mentioned it a few times just in a couple of things. You mentioned your ability to create and run kind of after the catch, or just your athleticism. Is that something you work on, is being elusive with the ball in your hands and stuff like that? Or how's that, why is that a big important part of your game?
Yeah, I think it's something that I need to continue to work on and improve. Just, having confidence when I do have the ball in my hands, and knowing that I can be a playmaker and that I am one, and just extending plays and making that another part of my game.
Do you have a specific player that you like to model your game after?
George Kittle.
George Kittle, yeah.
That's my guy.
Yeah. And what do you like most about him? What do you try and model yourself most after him?
I think he just both aspects of the tight end position, the run blocking and the route running, he just puts teach tape on every week. So it's really fun to go on and look at him and watch his tape, and actually something that I would do pregame a couple times, would watch his mic'd up videos, because he's a character out on the field too. So that would always get me fired up, and just kind of think for me to just play loose and have fun out there.
So are you giving the teammates some WWE type intros, getting everybody hyped up there in the huddle on the sideline beforehand too?
Yeah, well, I'm a big UFC watcher, so yeah, there's plenty of that. Definitely.
Let's put yourself in a situation here. You catch a game-winning touchdown. You guys just won the game, big game. Would you rather be at home celebrating with all your fans, or would you rather be in your biggest rival stadium and the whole stadium has to go silent as you guys just won?
Oh, I gotta say home stadium. Hearing everybody go crazy. I mean, I don't think there's anything better than that. So that'd be my answer.
Fast forward, we go through this whole draft process. It's been a lot. You guys you've been working really hard for this. This is what you're trying to get to. You get that phone call, and there, you answer it. You're getting drafted. You're getting picked. Just what's your emotions going to be like? Where are you going to be at? Who's going to be around? And what do you think you're going to be feeling in that moment? Yeah,
whole family will be there, and just everyone that has meant so much to me and has pushed me to get to this point. And it would really it would mean everything. And honestly, just a moment to really almost give back to everybody that has gotten me to that point. It would really just mean so much to so many people, as it would myself, of course. But I just would think about all those people, my parents, my siblings, and everybody around me that has really prayed for me so much and put their blood, sweat, and tears into making sure I'm at my best.
Who you hugging first?
My mom. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Well, Luke, thank you so much for spending some time with us. We appreciate it, and thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Welcome back to the KCSN Draft Show. That was Michigan tight end Luke Schoonmaker. Matt, of these three players, between Travius Hodges-Tomlinson, Keytrail Clark, Luke Schoonmaker, which one do you expect to be the best pro, have the best career? I'll put you on the spot a little.
Oh, man. That's tough. I'm going to take Schoonmaker. I think based on where I have these guys graded, he would certainly be the highest graded, but Man, like I said, these are three players I'm actually excited about. I like all three. I think the corners are both feisty, which you love. If Hodges-Tomlinson, can clean up some of the penalties, I think he could be a fantastic nickel. I mean, I throw out names like Mike Hilton. I think he could be at that level. So I'll take Schoonmaker, but I'm betting on all three of these guys being really good pros. They can have nice, 5, 6, 7 year careers, maybe even a little bit longer.
All right, good stuff. Matt, where can people find your stuff? What do you got working on? I know it's crunch time for you, but what do you got coming up that you can tease here a little bit for the people?
Oh my gosh, BJ, so much content. We've got a big NFL draft notebook coming out with kind of the latest rumors, news, info. Early next week, it might be Monday. My 7-round mock draft will drop, so you get that. And then Thursday morning of the draft, Mel and Todd will do their final mock drafts on ESPN.com, and I'll put out kind of my latest rumors, news, kind of what we're hearing. A way to tweak that mock draft that gets handed in a little early, that you could come out Thursday and be like, well, if I could redo some things, I would redo this. So there's so much content, man. We're doing a lot of ESPN Plus specials, so you can hop on your phone or computer and watch those. So there's unlimited draft content out there on ESPN.com for the folks who want it.
All right, we appreciate you, man. Appreciate everybody for listening. Make sure to hit that follow, subscribe. Make sure you download our brand new app. We just announced it yesterday, so you can go on the App Store, you can go on the Google Play and search KC Sports Network. It's a free app. Won't ask for any information. It's just a way to funnel all of our Chiefs and Royals and KU, K-State, Mizzou, Sporting, KC Current, all the different teams that we cover, all the different content that we do. You can find it all in one nice little organized place. So make sure to go download our app. We appreciate all you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching this production of KC Sports Network, the fastest growing sports media network in Kansas City. Check out these videos that feature our team of more than 15 former players, insiders, and analysts, bringing you the best Chiefs coverage you can find. Entertain, educate, inform. KC Sports Network.